Welcome everyone to the Farbrengen of the special auspicious day of Chof. As we all know, in 1984, Tov Daled Mem was the 40th Hilula, the yard site of the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Levi Yitzchok, and the Rebbe asked very, very much that we should make Farbrengens at that time, and during the Farbrengen, the Svadus, we should chazer and share with others and learn from the Torah, from the Rebbe's father. So it would be advisable, we should all say l'chaim together on this auspicious day, Chof, and learn something from the Rebbe's father in the spirit of a svadus, the way the Rebbe wished. So I want to start with a l'chaim to everyone, l'chaim, l'chaim. Just to start with a nice, beautiful word from the Rebbe's father that he wrote in a letter to the Rebbe. And since we are in a bit of a challenging time now, we need to have Yeshuas from the Chomes, from the Eibishter. And now we are in a time of, as you know, Chof, we all know the Rebbe started already to prepare for the coming year. It's known as Aboyim Yoim Koidim, the 40 days before Rosh Hashanah, and it's a time when we start blessing everyone for the new year. So we have the famous blessing of Lashona Toiva Mesuka, that should be a good and sweet year. So in one or two letters, the Rebbe's father writes to the Rebbe and explains him this bracha, this blessing. And he like asks, it seems like it's a redundant expression. Once you say good, then it's sweet. If it's sweet, it's good. What's the Shona Toiva, and also in addition to that, Umesuka? And he answers that we all know that everything that comes from Hashem is good. Ein ra yored melamayil. There's no evil, there's no bad that comes from Shemayim. It's only how we perceive it that sometimes we don't see the good. So there is a good that comes from Shemayim, that comes from the Eibishter, but it's concealed, it's hidden, like the Rebbe explains in Tanya. And this is the bracha that we ask everyone, one blesses another. That we should, not only should we have a good year, but we ask Hashem, please, all those hidden good should not be. We should have the revealed good. It should be sweet in our eyes. Down here, lamato, betoiv, what's called betoiv hanira v'anigla. A good that's revealed and that can be seen, even by the flesh eye, even by the human beings. We should see the good not only from the heavenly perspective, but also by us. And that's the expression Lashona Toiva, and also we emphasize it should be mesuka, sweet by everyone, only good and sweet. In Kabbalistic language, as we'll soon speak further, it's called Gevura Mimutokos. That Gevura, which symbolizes concealment, it should be sweetened, and we should only have the good. So on that note, I want to wish everyone a Shona Toiva Mesuka B'Toiv Hanira V'Hanigla L'Chaim L'Chaim. So I would like to share with you a beautiful Pirush explanation from the Rebbe's father. And just to mention one more Nukuda, just a little history. You know, the Rebbe's father passed away, we all know, Tov Daled, 1944. And the Rebbe didn't start getting his father's writings till 1960, and then a few years later he got more. And the Rebbe started to print, not only gave permission, but pushed it and wanted to get it fully printed. It all started in honor of the 25th Yortzeit, Tovshin Chof Test 1969, Chof. On that day, the Rebbe started the project to reveal to the world his father's ksovim. Even though he had all these letters all the years and many years, he had the writings that he had, the footnotes and the HoRav and Zoyar, etc. But for whatever reason, we don't know. This is what's called the Rebbe She'inyan. The Rebbe, the 25th Yortzeit, that's when he printed. He started to print it. Took a few years till all the books came out. And finally, in the year Tovshin Lamed Gimel, 1973, all the books were finished. Now, if you look, a phenomenal thing, something we're doing today, that's why I want to mention it. On that Chof of that year, Tovshin Lamed Gimel, the whole first two sichas, the Rebbe focused on the learning of his father's Torah. And over there, the Rebbe gave an unbelievable promise. And the Rebbe said like this: on the day of a Yortzeit, and especially of a tzaddik, and especially the type of tzaddik of like his father, who passed away with Mesiras Nefesh. So every year, the day of his Yortzeit Hilula, that neshama elevates to an aliyah shebe'ein haroich, an elevation that's like a quantum leap, not just a higher level than before, reachable, so to say, step by step. It's a ein haroich, a higher elevation for the soul. And then the Rebbe finished that whoever will learn from the Rebbe's father's Torah, especially on the day of his Yortzeit, which we're doing today on Chof, this will also bring unbelievable words from the Rebbe. And aliyah shebe'ein haroich, it will also elevate every single one who learns and who participates in the learning, especially on that day, on the Yom Lula, when his father has that aliyah shebe'ein haroich, that the loymaid of his Torah, the one who learns his Torah, will also be elevated with an aliyah shebe'ein haroich. So what we're doing today should only bring to all of us a tremendous bracha, that we should all connect to the Rebbe and to the Rebbe's father more deeper. So on that note, I want to say again l'chaim, and then we'll go to the beautiful Pirush. L'chaim. One of the phenomenal, and you could even call it original, ways of how the Rebbe's father would learn, that he would always show that there is a subject, a concept in Torah, but Torah is emes. So when anything that comes from Hashem, or anything that comes from the Chachamim, who are of course inspired divinely, then every single thing on the subject or the name of something, if Torah calls it, then that theme, that concept must fit in every aspect of, whether it's the word, whether it's the parsha, whether it's the Inyan, whatever it should be. It fits also with the numerical value of the letters, and it also fits many times in the order of how the letters are combined in the Hebrew language. So it's not just random writings like other languages. Every single detail, which since it comes from Hashem, which is Torah's emes, emes has to be truthful on every single level. And that's why the more you learn, you will see a person learns the Rebbe's father's format. The Rebbe spoke many times of Farbrengen. The Rebbe's father wanted to show that nigla of Torah, the revealed part of the Torah, and the pnimis of Torah, and how it's b'shorshoi in Kabbalah. Every single thing has to fit. So I want to share with you one example of such a mahalech of learning, such a path, and the style of learning the way the Rebbe's father had it. And that's a subject which we're learning this week and next week in Rambam, is the laws of Shabbos and the laws of Eruvin. So one of the laws of Shabbos is, we have, the Gemara says in Davov and Shabbos, that there's different reshuyos, there are different domains. A reshus hayochid, there's basically two, reshus hayochid and reshus harabah. There's a Carmelist, Mokum Tur, we won't go into that. But basically, there is a private domain, Reshus HaYochid, and then there's a public domain in Reshus HaRabba. And you're not allowed to go out from on Shabbos to carry something from a private domain or a public domain. And the same thing is also, there is a person's not supposed to go out. That's walking, that's like what's called Tchum Shabbos. But we're going to talk about the example of Reshus HaYochid and Reshus HaRabba. Now there is in Halacha, the Gemara says, what is the shiur? What is the minimum amount of a Reshus HaYochid? So the Gemara says, any property that if it has 4 by 10 tvachim up, then that is, and it's closed off, that already is enough to make a private domain. Less than that, if it's less than 4, it's too small of a property that's not considered, it has its own shiur. It could make it into its own private property. It's not separated from the Reshus HaRabba. In order for something to separate from Reshus HaRabba, you need a property that goes 4 by 10 tvachim up, and that makes it into a private domain. And then you're not allowed to carry something from the private into the public, and from the public into the private. It's 2 separate reshuyos. Now then there's a concept, what's called a eruv. A eruv is spelled Ayin Yud Reish Vov Beis or Beis, eruv. Which means that I could extend my Reshus HaYochid into the Reshus HaRabba, where I have to make or I extend the mechitza, and through that I extend the Reshus HaYochid and go further out, that I take part of the public domain and I bring it in, and it becomes halachically part of the Reshus HaYochid. So if someone has a house, for example, and then he has a yard in the backyard, his house has 4 walls, that's a Reshus HaYochid, that's a private domain. If you want to now also carry out into the yard, so you have to make certain signs, you make an eruv. Won't go into all the details, you can look it up, the halachas, very complicated subject, but that's the general concept, that I could take a part which is really outside, and basically in the realm of a Reshus HaRabba, and I could now combine it. I take a piece from that and I include it into the Reshus HaYochid. Now every number is exact, so why is it 4 by 10 makes it alone a Reshus HaYochid? And with this, I would like to share with you fascinating biur and pirush, how the Rebbe's father explains the word eruv. Torah calls it eruv. That's the source of Hilchos Eruvim, which we're going to learn in the next few weeks. So the Rebbe's father shows how, look, there's 5 letters here, eruv, ayin, yud, reish, vov, veis, eruv. This concept of eruv not only will fit, not only with the explanation of the word, the pirush of the word, but also in the numerical value from these letters, and even more so, the order of how Torah organized these letters to call it eruv. If you have 5 letters, you could change it around. You could make it into any word you want. You could read it many ways. But here the Torah decided, no, it should be exactly in the order of Ayin, Yud, Reish, Vov, Veis. That's eruv. So the Rebbe's father explains like this. Very beautiful. We all know what it says in Tanya. It says, Ki shemesh u'mogen havaya elokim. Just like there's the sun, and then there's the cover on the sun. There's also these 2 names. There's Shemavai Yudke Vovke, and then there's Elikim. And the Rebbe explains in Perek Dalet basically from there and all over Chassidus, hundreds of places where Shem Havaya shows where the Eibishter reveals himself. There's godliness in revelation. Shem Elikim, Bigematria Hateva, it's the same numerical value as nature. Over there, it's what's called B'chinas Gevura, where Hashem conceals himself into the world. Really, it's the same Hashem. But by Shem Havaya, by Yud Kei Vav Kei, that's where you have this Gilui Elokus. And the Rebbe says that's called Chesed. Chesed from the Eibishter. When the Hashem wants to do kindness to the world, he reveals himself. Just like when one person to another, when you want to do chasodim, you want to do chesed to somebody else, kindness, you share with him something good. You reveal to him something good. You're doing a gilui. You're doing something positive with him. That's called chesed. The Eibishter does a revelation to the world, that's chasodim. When the Eibishter conceals himself, that's where Shem Elikim, that's called Gevura, with his concealment. Now, Chassidus explains, and based on what says Kabbalah, that the world really all comes from Hashem, every single thing. And a Jew's job is really, the ultimate purpose of every Yid is to make the world a Reshus HaYochid. There's really only Yochid in the world. Really, the whole world is only a Reshus HaYochid. That's the real truth. It all comes from Hashem. But the way Hashem created the world, it looks like heaven and earth are separated. There's no revelation. There's parts of the world where we see the godliness. So as Alter Rebbe explains in the end of Perek Lamed Gimel and Tanya, the Reshus Harabim, the public domain, over there symbolizes Klippa. There symbolizes where Hashem is not revealed. And that's why you have many, because true Achdus, true unity, is only where you have Reshus HaYochid. When we put on tefillin for this week's Parsha, we say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. We're telling that really the whole world. Aleph goes on Hashem, Ches, the seven heavens and earth, and the four corners of the world, four sides of the world. Everything is really Echad. It's only one. There's only Reshus HaYochid. So the job in general of every Yid is when you have a house, your house has a mezuzah, taken with this week's Parsha. And over there it says, what's the purpose of your house? Your house is now a Reshus HaYochid. And you bring Hashem into the house. So he is the balabos. He's the one who's the ruler and who sets forth all the gashmis and ruchnis, everything that comes from the house is involved, permeated with the warmth and spirit of Torah. And that makes that house a true Reshus HaYochid. You want to bring down godliness into the house. Our job in general is what's called Eruv. That's the focus of every single Yid. We go out into the world, into the Reshus HaRabim, and now we have to elevate the world and bring in things from the outside into our domain, which means we take gashmistic things from the world, we elevate it. So we take things from the world of Gevura, from the element of the world where at the moment it shows on concealment of Hashem, Reshus HaRabim, which is Klippa, and Sitra Achra, the other side of Kedusha. And our job is to take that and combine it, bring it into our Reshus HaYochid and to elevate those objects. But here is the key point the Rebbe's father says, so unbelievable. He says, halachically, when you make an Eruv, it's not that you are a partnership. Here's the key word. There's no two partners here, Reshus HaYochid, Reshus HaRabim. No. The Reshus HaRabim gets cancelled, and this now extra domain, which was originally outside from the Reshus HaYochid, now I'm combining that parcel of land, and I'm bringing it into the Reshus HaYochid, into the private domain, and halachically now I can carry there. It's part and parcel of the private domain. So when I elevate the world, I take it away from the Reshus HaRabim and I bring it in completely. There's no mixture of and partnership. So look at this. Even though the word Eruv comes from the word Taruvos, which means mixing, I'm mixing over here Reshus HaRabim and Reshus HaYochid. That's really what it means. I have a private domain. I want to reach out into the outside Reshus HaRabim and bring it in. So I'm really combining here two parts of the world of Reshus HaRabim. But when I do it, the Rebbe's father explains, and this is going to be hinted so beautiful in the letters, in the order of the words of Eruv, that not when you're going to make this mixture, yes, in the beginning it looks like it's two different domains, private and public. But once you halachically fix that area and you make it into a private domain, you are combining it and extending, that's the key word, you're extending the private domain into the public, then you're mavatal, you're elevating the public, and now it becomes part of the private. So Hashem, so to say, there's much greater revelation that you're bringing the Reshus HaYochid, you're bringing the private domain, extending it into the world. So here I want to share with you a little touch on the way the Rebbe's father would explain everything. How halachically this is the theme, the concept, and how it fits with the letters. So I want to give you a short Hagdama. As I mentioned before in Tanya, the Shem Havaya shows with his revelation this chesed. A Gilui Elikus. Shem Elokim shows on concealment, Gevura. In Shem Havaya, it's known that there's something that's called, there's four letters, Yud, K, Yud, Hey, Vov, Hey. And then there's what's called Milui from the letters. Milui means, a simple example what that means. You know, if you take, for instance, for example, the Rebbe once said this about Farbrengen actually. The Rebbe explained this concept. If you take a letter of Torah, let's say we're going to take the letter Aleph, for example, and you want to think, how does that Aleph look in your mind? Machshava. So you think in your mind, oh, you remember how it looks in Aleph base, you remember the tziyur, you remember how the lines go of Aleph. So in your mind, you only think about one letter, which is Aleph. But when you want to verbalize it, b'dibur, that means when it comes out, you want to share this letter Aleph with somebody else, you don't just say, you have to say another two letters, Aleph, Lamed, Fei. So in order to say what the name of the letter is, b'dibur, you're going to have to add certain letters. That's called the milui of the letters, Aleph. So the source of it is really one letter, Aleph. The way it's written down, the way it's a machshava. But when I verbalize it, when I bring it up begilui to somebody else, I have to add the oisius hamiluyim. Now, if you look, a very interesting thing. If you take the four letters of Hashem's name, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, and then we're going to want to write what's called the milui of those letters. So Yud is Yud, Vav, Dalet. So now you added another two letters. Hey is Hey, Yud. Vav, wait, in Kabbalistic language, they write it Vav, Yud, Vav. This is all called Milui Yudin. Every time you watch the Milui, going to be in a Yud. And then you have the final letter Hey, which is also Hey, Yud. So now let's look at an interesting thing. The name itself is Yud, Ke, Vav, Ke. When I'm going to write the Milui, I read it out, Yud is Yud, Vav, Dalet, that's 3. Hey, Yud, the Milui is another 2, that's 5. Vav, Yud, Vav is 3. And then the last Hey, Hey, Yud is another 2, a total of 10 letters. So it comes out in Shem Havaya, how the Eibishter reveals to the world. You have 4 letters of the name itself, Yud Kei Vav Kei. And when you want to write it out, Bimilui, you're going to come to a total of 10 letters. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. Bimilui, Yud, Vav, Dalet, Hey, Yud, Vav, Hey, Yud. That's why the Rebbe said by Farbrengen many times. The Rebbe's father explains, what's the Rishus HaYochid showing on the Eibishter, showing on a private domain with the Eibishter, the Balabos? You know what the sheet is? 4 by 10 exactly. 4 goes on what's on the floor, which means the domain itself. And then when it reaches out to the world, higher up, which shows on the Gilui, that's 10. So now we understand why the private domain is 4 by 10. So here the Rebbe's father says a phenomenal thing. What we did till now, we just counted the amount of letters. Yud Kei Vav Kei is 4, and when you have the Milu, you have 10 letters. But if you count the numerical value of that Milui, so Yud Vav Dalet. What does that total up to in the numbers? That's 20. Yud is 10, Vav is 6, and Dalet is 4, that's a total of 20. Hey Yud is 15. So now I have 35. Vav Yud Vav, another 22. 22 and 35, 57. And then when I have the last Hey Yud, another 15 makes it exactly 72. That's known in Chassidus Shem Ab. Ab is one of the ways of Hashem has his Milui. Yud Kei Vav Kei, we call it Milui Yudin. Everything is with a Yud. Yud Vav Dalet, Hey Yud, Vav Yud Vav, Hey Yud. That's the Milu in this way, which is Yud chosen the Eibishter, which is the essence, the point. The Yud, that's the first letter of the Eibishter's name. And that's called Shem Ab. And that's why Shem Ab, all over Chassidus shows on the revelation, the highest level of the revelation of Hashem. Oilam Atzilus, B'chinas Chochma. Now here, look, it's a phenomenal thing the Rebbe's father brings out. We said before, Shem Havaya is Chesed, like that Rebbe said in Tanya. Shem Elokim is Gevura. Chesed adds up to 72 exactly. Shem Ab. And that fits exactly. When Hashem reveals himself, Shem Havaya, that's Chesed, because the numerical value of Hashem's name adds up to Chesed. Gevura, if you add it up, adds up to 216. 216 in regular letters is Reish Yud Vov. 216. So Ab 72 is Chesed. Gevura is Reish Yud Vov. 216. Now look how phenomenal the Rebbe's father explained. The Rebbe's father says, everything we're talking about now, Shem Havai, which is 72 Chesed, Shem Elikim, which is Gevur, which is 216 Reish Yud Vav, is all hinted in Torah, in the word of Eruv. And not only will it be hinted in the word of Eruv, but also what's according to the Rebbe's father, how he explains so beautiful, the Seder, the order of the letters are exact. Why? So look what the Rebbe's father says. Take the word of Eruv. You have 5 letters. Ayin, Yud, Reish, Vav, Beis. Ayin and Beis is the beginning and the end. Ayin, Beis 72. So now I have Chesed. The first letter of Eruv, Ayin, last letter of Eruv, beginning and the end, spells out Chesed. The middle letters are Yud, Reish, Vav. That's exactly 216. Gevur, Reish, Yud, Vav. So, first of all, I right away see what Eruv is. Eruv is you're making a mixture. You're taking something from a Rishus HaYochid, which is Shem Ab, which is the place where there's revelation of Hashem, Shem Havaya, which is Chesed, Gilei Elokus, which originally the minimum share is 4/10, which is the name of Yudke Vovke B'Milui. The numerical value of Milui is Ab, 72, which is Chesed. There is revelation of Hashem. And then now you want to take that and you want to extend it out into the Gevurah part of the world, which is the public domain. Now I'm bringing it in, and it's becoming part of the Reshus HaYochid. And now you'll see how beautiful the Rebbe's father explains how the order of the words fit exactly. The way the letters are, we start with Chesed, finish with Chesed, Ab, Ayin Beis is the beginning and the end of the word, and Gevurah is in the middle. The Yud, Reish, Vov, the Gevurah, that's inside. And Hashem wants to teach us a phenomenal lesson. That when you go outside and you want to bring the Reshus HaRabim, the outside world, remember, you're not a shutuf over here. You're not a partnership with the outside world. No, you're taking the Reshus HaRabim and you're bringing it inside. That's why these letters, Reish, Yud, Vov, Yud, Reish, Vov, adding up to Gevurah, is inside of the word. And what's surrounding it? Surrounding it is Chesed, Ab, Shem Havaya. The Shem Havaya now is going to take it over. And you're going to become included into the Reshus HaYochid. We're going to take away from you the Gevurah, and now you're going to be surrounded from head to toe, from beginning and end, from Chesed, from Gilei Elokus, and that is the ultimate purpose of creation. So in the word of Eruv, it teaches us the Tachlis HaKavanah from every Yid. You yourself are Reshus HaYochid, your house, your Chabad house, your private house, whatever it should be. The Rebbe gives every one of us a shlichus, that we should go out into the world, and we should elevate the world. And we make Eruv, we are bringing in the outside Gevurah into the world of Chesed, of Gilei Elokus, of Shem Havaya. And we have to remember this, the Rebbe's father emphasizes. That's not that the Reshus HaYochid gets influenced by the outside values and concepts. Chas v'sholom. We take the entire Reshus HaRabim, the Gevurah, the Oisis, Riv, Reish, Yud, Vov. And in this case, it's Yud, Reish, Vov, the inner letters of the word of Eruv. We bring it inside, and that's why these letters are B'Pnim. And what's surrounding it? The Reshus HaYochid, the Ab. And that's always practically. When you make a Eruv, your sticks and everything show that surrounds the Reshus. And now everything that was before, it was Take Reshus HaRabim, it was outside from the realm of Reshus HaYochid, it was in the public domain, now I'm bringing it to a private. But now, once I extended it halachically, now there's no partnership anymore. You elevated that part. You brought it into the Reshus HaYochid. So this is one of the examples. I could go on, but I'm sharing with you. I'm just telling you it's maybe 10 lines from the Rebbe's father's biur. He has a phenomenal. This is one part, but he explains the whole Linah from Eruv, and he has an unbelievable explanation in the Gemara. In a Gemara he has an unbelievable explanation in a Gemara in Eruvin, Daf Pei. I just want to share this Chof today. So I personally was involved launching a project many years ago of trying to organize the Rebbe's father's yam, the mind-boggling pirushim that he has. And what we have, as we know, is only what's called Kitipa bin Hayam. We have maybe a drop in the ocean. Thousands and thousands of pages. We don't know where they are. And the Rebbe was heartbroken over it. And I just want to mention that Tov Shinun in the Farbrengen of Tishrei, the Rebbe said that he believes it's still in existence. And when the more we're gonna learn the Rebbe's father's Torah, this will hasten that we'll be able to find the other Ksavim. But what we have now, it's not really organized according to Chumash, according to the Pashas HaShavua. And not only that, the Rebbe's father was like, it kept on pouring and pouring his wisdom, and pages and pages. And the concept of this project was to take out those pieces and explain it to the best of our ability, and how it relates to the Pasuk itself. But this is one example, one piece that's taken from the new Sefer that came out. It's already, we started from Bereshis, and we just now came out with the 5th volume in the honor of this Chof. And as we speak today, Chof, Baruch Hashem, this new volume was brought to the Rebbe by the oil, and also it was brought on the Tzion from Rabbi Levi Yitzchok in Alma-Ata, that he should receive this Sefer on the day of his Hilula, and telling him that we are committed to the Rebbe's Ratzon, that we're going to learn what he wrote, and we're going to try to explain it. And the truth is, when you hear his explanations and you see, it's completely mind-boggling. And there was nobody in the world, he had such a style, like I said before, how every single thing fit. And the more it comes out from this project, I must say, as we say in English, take the elephant out of the room. There's such a mistake in the world that everyone thinks, the Rebbe's father was a makubal, and everything that he wrote was Kabbalah and Gematriyois, and no one could understand. This is the furthest. It's such a mistake. It's a sheket. It's a lie. It's not true. It's true that the Rebbe's father was a genius in Kabbalah, but what he wrote in all the levels of the Torah, Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Sod. So on that note, I want to wish everyone again, as I started before, that the Rebbe's father's bracha should be mekuyim by everyone. We should all be wished with a Shana Tov Mesuka. We should all have the Emes Aliyah by learning the Rebbe's father's Nyanim. And I hope that this will encourage all of you to learn as much as possible. Every time you do it, you're being Mekayim what the Rebbe wants. It was one of the greatest things he wanted. He wanted that his father's Torah should become part of every single home, every single table, every single yeshiva. Everyone should learn part of the program. He shouldn't be just on the side there, somewhere in the shelf. It's our father. It should be part. His Torah should become part and parcel. And let's do what he said, the Eidov. Let's elevate the world until the ultimate coming of Mashiach, when the entire Rishus HaRabim will turn into one gigantic Rishus HaYochid, as says in this week's Parsha from Mitzvah's Tefillin. We will have the Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. May happen speedily in our day. We should see our Rebbe and the Rebbe's father with the coming of Mashiach.